entertaining LinkedIn Live. Got a special guest, the Russian Santa, and I'm sure you're going to be impressed when you hear what we have to say today. Hopefully, it's things that you can take and apply right after you leave this LinkedIn Live. Feel free to chat. Chat is open, and I'll be happy to share your comments and recognize you during the broadcast. So anybody who wants to get it going, feel free. With that said, let me introduce Alex to you, the Russian Santa. That's an interesting name. I'm sure a lot of people are curious. Tell us a little bit about you and how you came up with the Russian Santa.
Sure. Yeah. So up until yesterday, everybody knew me as the Doors Wizard because I had risen from, a shy software engineer to a confident public speaker, and have been very focused on being productive and rising in my career. So people across the LinkedIn universe have known me as the Doors Wizard. But yesterday, something new happened. So I took on a new character, which I think sums me up to a T. So what happened yesterday is that I broke up with my girlfriend, and I had been planning to drive to my parents' house in Boston. So I had been staying in Lawton, Oklahoma, and I already have a vacation approved for my work to go starting on Thursday of this week. So everybody knows that my girlfriend and I were supposed to go to Boston on Thursday. Well, as life would have it, basically my relationship ended, and she didn't want me to stay, which was totally fine. So I left. The only problem being is that my paycheck drops on Tuesday, and my bank account reads $7.77. So I left feeling very happy because I spent my whole life preparing for this moment, and I feel very confident in my ability to survive. And so basically, I went around town and to the few people that I had met, and I basically said, "Hey, I just got kicked out." I mean, one response was like, "Well, hey, you could stay with us as long as you want to." That was from Eden and Chris, and I said, "Thank you, I appreciate it, but I need to start driving towards Boston because that's what I need to do." And the other person is Baylor, who's my personal trainer. He has literally seen me transform from, an unsure individual, because what the short summary is that 2 years ago, I already was at the top of my field. So everybody knew me as the Doors Wizard. So nothing changed. But 2 years ago, I took a nosedive because at the time I didn't realize that it was an emotionally abusive relationship. I just knew that I wanted to get out and I didn't know how. So I went on a family vacation with my wife and kids to Tampa, and we had fight number like 1,000. And instead of getting,
we're getting off the subject a little bit. Let's kind of stay LinkedIn centric.
Okay.
And really just the idea was, what does the Russian Santa stand for?
Well, that's what I was getting to. That I'm almost done with my spiel. So basically, I was left in Tampa by myself. And what ensued was 3 months of sheer delights. I was free from my captor, and I did everything you would want to do as a single man in a town full of beautiful women. The problem was I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to get away. And so the Russian Santa came about because I realized this week that what I really want to do is I want to give back to the people. Now, mind you, I met let's say 100 characters during my wild spree. There was about 10 of them that, they had made a mistake. So they got a felony on the record. They can't do anything about it. And so they're relegated to their life because of our system. But those 10 people saw something in me, and they said, "Alex, you don't belong here. Get the hell out of here." And I wasn't hearing the message. I wasn't hearing it. I was just so happy to be away from my abuser that, and if it hadn't been for my skills as a public speaker, I'd be dead. That's the honest truth. And so now my calling as the Russian Santa is to help all those people, the few that saw something in me when, I didn't see anything. And so I set off this journey of driving to my parents' house, knowing that people are going to help. So like, I mean, the paycheck hits on Tuesday. I mean, I only got 2 more days, so it's not like,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
a
gonna
good
be fun. It's gonna be
thing.
fun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's great. So, nothing like change, that's for sure. And so, tell me a little bit about what you saw in LinkedIn that
sure.
attracted you to put some time and thought behind it.
So originally, I honestly don't remember when I created my profile. I know it was before 2013, and along with many people out there, my assumption was it's just a place to put up your resume, like in public. That's what I thought.
Mhm.
But then in 2013, because I'm constantly looking for ways to improve myself, I picked up a book called How to Write a Killer LinkedIn Profile. It was available in Kindle by Brenda Bernstein. And basically, it helped me pivot in a very positive way because she listed out, okay, here are the common misconceptions about LinkedIn and your profile. And I was able to say, oh, yep, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. So basically, she was able to um, guide me through her book on completely overhauling my profile. And my profile went from like obscurity to LinkedIn All Star in like 3 months.
Oh,
So
hmm.
it was, you know, but that was 9 years ago. Fast forward to now, I only 3 weeks ago I realized that LinkedIn is the new Facebook, except with real people, like
Hmm.
plain and simple. And I was talking to the gentleman at the downstairs, and he basically said, when I said, "Have you heard of LinkedIn?" He was like, "Oh yeah, I think my younger brother uses it." So I told him it's the new Facebook, and he was very like, you know, he was very surprised. So I think the only difference being is that LinkedIn has real people and Facebook has fake people, and that's
Hmm.
it. This is really, I believe, this is the platform going forward, and I've had so many magical things happen in my life as a result of LinkedIn that I'm a fan for life. So
Oh, great. Well, that's nice and confirming. And it's good to see how not only people have changed, but LinkedIn has changed and continues to change. And LinkedIn Live, to me, is the most dramatic, dynamic change because it keeps the filters away from you. It keeps you from being insulated or meshed in with the crowd of 800 million people who are fighting each other for a little bit of attention, for a lot of work, a lot of thought, a lot of fear, a lot of everything that no one needs if you're already overwhelmed, right? So,
I mean, that's like the other really important thing. And again, so for example, the people like Eden, Chris, and Bailey are the 3 people that, invested in me yesterday when I was at my worst. Like I knew I wanted to move. I didn't want to stay there. I just wanted to get away because, there's nothing there left for me. But I couldn't get away in $7. I needed gas and I
mhm,
needed to. So, they saw something in me, but I'm just most excited by the fact that in the past 3 weeks, through continued self education, I realized that, like, yeah, I just have to be myself. Like, I don't need to worry about, like, 3 weeks ago, I was trying to promote my own YouTube live talking about how I had published 7 books and I wanted to share my process with other people. And I couldn't get anybody to connect. I was talking to my mom on a daily basis. So
mhm,
it's funny, like, how 3 weeks later, everything is just magically crystallized for me. And with your help as well. Like, even yesterday, I came up with the idea. Maggie, who I've been known as Margaret, who I've been tagging on a lot of posts, is, I guess, one of the co-founders. So it's like Maggie, myself, and Oliver. We formed. I mean, I'm not even sure what to call it. A group where we were gonna document my epic adventures from that summer. That was the original thought. And then
mhm,
yesterday, it evolved into, I'm gonna do a YouTube live. And then after talking to you, I realized, why stop at YouTube? I'm going to do a
mhm,
LinkedIn Live and basically any platform that wants to hear me talk every Saturday at 12 Central Time, 11 Pacific Time, and, I should say 10 o'clock Pacific Time, 12 Central, and 1 o'clock Eastern Time. For my friends watching this in England, Australia, Russia, Latvia, please fill in the blank. I do not know what the time is for you, but this is the time that works for me. And since I'm the one recounting the story, that's when I'm going live. So if you want to tune in, you're welcome to tune in any platform of your choice. And Alex Speaks is my LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, YouTube handle. So catch me wherever is convenient for you. And I will also be bringing guests along.
Mhm.
So, like, if you want to be my guest, just let me know, and we'll kind of like what Donald was doing for me. If you want to be my guest, just let me know. The point is not about me. It is about me telling you a story that's going to blow your mind, because I lived every guy's fantasy for like 3 months, and now I'm just gonna unveil it one little tidbit at a time.
Okay, well, it looks like you're more than enthusiastic. Want to thank Una for commenting and participating. Thank you for joining the broadcast today. I think that, I know at this point, because I've been doing LinkedIn Live every day for 6 months, and I've been doing LinkedIn Live for a year, but only 6 months ago did I decide to, just make it a habit, make it a routine. It's like brushing your teeth or exercising. After a while you get into the rhythm of it. And hopefully, to Alex's point, you're really just talking for yourself to yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And at that point, you have a low bar that you don't have to worry about popularity, criticism. You're getting out there, but you're doing something that's live. That also gives you a wonderful excuse to be imperfect, because you couldn't have edited it.
Yeah,
You
so
see,
like
if
here's
you
my
produce a video.
this is my Ray Allen. So I'm from Boston. That's where I'm going to Boston. So I can promise my mom and brother, if they're watching this, that I'm going to Boston, because I called my mom and she's freaking out. She's like, I talked to my brother as rationally as I could, but he doesn't get it. So I will rely on people such as Una, who is one of the maybe 12 people that I've connected with over the past 3 weeks. I just started sharing, more about me, and it wasn't until I removed the filter, as you said, that the floodgates just opened. Like once I removed the filter and just started sharing everything, like my story started coming out. I started coming up with whatever I feel like it, and I don't care. And people like that.
Yeah, well, the other thing I've learned, and I'm learning every day, which doesn't discount what I knew before, but it just changes a few incremental nuances that, it's like focusing. You ever go to the eye doctor and they say one or two left or right, and eventually, after enough questions, they got you focused.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
On LinkedIn, everybody needs something or someone
Yes.
at some time.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they have an interest or opportunity to help someone at some time. So somehow there's need and demand for support. So the key is when you focus in on what you're looking for, is that exactly what you're looking for? Or do you need a couple more left, rights, one or twos? The other thing is how are you attracting them? And is that sustainable and duplicatable, which then could make it scalable?
Well, and it's funny you say that, because I was your guest. So you saw me like a week. I don't even know what day it was. I honestly don't know, but it was not too far ago. So for me, in essence, I went through the stages that you described in like 2 weeks. For most people, it could take like 2 years. But for me, it happened to be 2 weeks, because I already had all the knowledge. I just needed the right people to tell me things. And so it seems, like I said, when I talked to my brother, as rational as I tried to be, to talk him through every single concern he has, it doesn't work, because he saw me behave in the exact same way 2 years ago and spiral completely out of control. So
Yeah, but you see, but here's the thing. History doesn't define the future.
exactly.
And when people require approval or something affirmative, they're adding something to something. So what I've learned is people don't want to know about you as you. They want to know as you is what you can give to them, right?
Right.
So they're not interested in your needs
Exactly.
because they're listening and you're talking. When they
Exactly.
become talking, then they have a responsibility and obligation to the people that are listening, because people's attention span is minuscule. They're
And this,
looking for
yeah.
reasons to move on. They're not looking for reasons to stay. And
And
if
this
every
is,
time,
I was
right?
just going to say, this has been the challenge that is helping guide me. Like, I cannot overstay how important it is what you just said. Like, people are not interested in you, they're interested in themselves. So, like, literally, my guiding compass for how I'm quickly able to adjust on the fly is I have to keep like rewiring my head, because I've gotten so used to like focusing on me. Like, how am I most productive? How do I do this? How do I do that? But it's not about me. And that's what I just realized over the past couple of weeks. And so now every time I take any action, I'm always telling myself, Alex, are you doing this for yourself, or are you doing it for somebody else? And I'm always, so like, for example, like right now, case in point, uh, Maggie, who I just met over LinkedIn in the past 2 weeks, I realized yesterday that Maggie is exactly where I was 6 months ago, like to a T, like where I was 6 months ago when I was depressed in a bad environment, and I just didn't know. I didn't know what to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, but again, someone, what works for you works for people like you, right? And so what you're attracted to is what other people like you are attracted to, right?
Yeah.
If you like
Yeah.
chocolate ice cream, then people like chocolate ice cream are more like you than people eat vanilla. But that's pretty simplistic. What
Yeah.
I see is everybody listening, you need to keep feeding the register to keep them staying, right?
Yes.
So if you had a machine that says put a nickel in for 10 minutes, every 10 minutes you'd have to put a nickel in to keep that 10-minute attention.
Right.
Now, if every word you give people is worth more than the time they spend, they'll now spend more time. But anytime one says, here's this, and someone first of all says one of two things: I don't really care, or it's not helping me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's almost like a doctor telling a patient their problems. They don't want to hear that, right? What they're just there to get fixed or helped or whatever you want to do with them. LinkedIn is, you got a lot of people. So there are no absolutes, right? Because with 800 million people, there's people for everybody, right? If you're an awful person, there's awful people that will attract to you, and you can create an awful person group, right? And you're
Yeah,
better
so
off.
I can see at least two people from my mastermind. So I've got, the Joseph and Una are 2 out of the 9. So I appreciate them being here. And yes, you're right. Basically, your vibe attracts your tribe. That's
Yeah,
true.
and the thing is everybody's like elevator buttons. Some take you up, some take you down. When
Yes.
people tune in, they
Yes.
want to feel like when I leave, I'm going to be better for the time. I'm going to have maybe an attitude shift. Maybe I'll have a takeaway that now is the missing piece that has stopped me from breaking through. And in a sense, you got to do before other people aren't doing. You got to do it better than they are, because you're on. The key is, what I do believe in, you got two big numbers. One is 800 million plus on LinkedIn, and the other is one key person that would fit into your situation perfectly. And you
Yeah.
never know when that one person's going to show up.
Right. So
Right.
my person is Maggie, because I see basically through the lens of, like in talking to her, because we've been talking a lot. And again, before the decision for me to go live, I thought we were going to do daily Zoom calls with them, and just I tell them the story and we capture like their reaction. That was my plan 3 days ago. Well, the plan changed yesterday, because I realized what I really want to do is I want to direct my own movie. Like, that's my long-term goal. I'm going to direct my own movie about my life. But my life
Mhm.
is not done yet. So this is like, maybe 10 years in the future. But right now I'm just having too much fun figuring things out with a close group of friends.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And the key thing is if you want to leverage LinkedIn, again, you've got to have something that has continuing value, right? And also consistency.
And that's why, again, thinking of you, I thought to myself, well, Donald does this on a daily basis. I cannot do this on a daily basis. So for me, I'll do it on a weekly basis. And people that tune in are going to be like, I cannot wait to hear more. So I want to, like I said, go big on every platform. And LinkedIn specifically, I was actually going to ask, do you know if there's a limit on how many people can tune in live, or just, you know?
No, I mean, you could, whoever wants to. Yeah, I know on Restream, on the paid plan, you get up to 10 people who can be part of
Oh yeah,
LinkedIn.
no. I'm just interested in viewers. Is there any
Well,
limits on the
yeah,
viewers?
a million of people
Okay. Well, then my goal is going to be to gross the highest ever number of attendees on LinkedIn.
well,
And
that would be great, and I'd be glad to say I knew you when. Uh, but I think, and that's what I'm sharing. When you do something every day for 6 months, and then you start doing it, like last week, I had at least 7 LinkedIn lives with new people, and all I am now, because I continue to reduce my importance,
exactly, exactly,
right? By,
exactly.
by just saying, if I went to a great restaurant and I came back and said, I just went to a great restaurant, I'm just referring. Now, when I say LinkedIn Live, I'm doing it, I'm not it. But I can tell you, just like a great restaurant, it works so much better and so much more cost and time efficiently than the traditional way of posting.
Yeah, I
And I'm saying
actually.
is if anybody wants to do a LinkedIn Live, they're probably approved. If one wants to learn how to do a LinkedIn Live and wants a co-host or just wants a draft off of what I'm doing and with what I'm doing, you can go to Don Cohen Consulting. I've got a LinkedIn Live package for $897 that blows your mind. I only have 2 openings because that's all the room I have. And plus, whoever I'm working with, the goal is to be able to project someone to say, here's where they started, before, here's what they did after, here's how they're doing. And if they can do it, you can do it, right? Someone says, well, Don's doing it, but Don's blah, blah, blah. And that's a poor excuse, but it holds water sometimes. What I'm saying to people, no one gets out of this life alive, right? And if there's a chance that doing something could pivot you into a whole different trajectory with a whole different universe of people, and all it took was you trusting yourself to trust the experience. And here's the biggest thing, you have to allow people to help you when you need help.
Yes, I can just say, like, for a fact, if it wasn't all of my experience to this point in time, I would definitely do what you recommend, like going live every day and just start talking about whatever the hell you want. But because I'm already sitting on 44 years of success, like everything just like came together. So I don't need to try. Like within 2 weeks, I was able to, crystallize everything with the help of Jesse, who is the basically Jesse. I took Jesse's LinkedIn course on how to create content. So I went from like sitting on the sidelines to all of a sudden creating content. And then I had a life coaching session with Tom's, who just gave me like instant clarity. And between, I mean, many other moving pieces. Those are the 2 huge ones where like 2 weeks ago I started posting content and slowly discovering what I needed to post and then gain some clarity and off I go.
Well, here I gained some insight and maybe a revelation, right? Is LinkedIn is 24/7 nonstop, right? It never goes down.
I'm on my phone at like every hour, and I've got notifications coming in at 3, 4, 5. My new friends are all not in the States.
Well,
So
no, well, I'm saying is when you're going to sleep, some people are waking up. Some people wake up, some people go to sleep. It's a worldwide thing.
yeah.
So what I see this as is there's a huge audience. When you're talking 800 million, that's like 3 Americas, right?
I'm
That's a
glad
lot
to
of
be
people.
here.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of people, and they're business professional oriented, so they're not just anybody,
Exactly.
right? They had
Yeah.
to have a niche. So here's the key: everybody sitting out there would like to be, and I'm assuming it, doing better, being better, feeling better, all the better stuff. And for some reason, whatever it is, they're not there, right? So meanwhile, what are they doing while they are there where they don't want to be? Thinking, planning, worrying, you name it. They're doing something to fill those 24 hours. Now, here's the point. If someone gives you an open mic and says, there's people all over the world waiting to hear from someone, I would be talking until I went to sleep.
Well,
You know,
this is one of the other reasons.
what I'm saying is, I like your story.
Yeah.
Then write a post,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Do a LinkedIn Live on your story. I mean, the point is instead of talking to yourself or waiting for someone to come and show up, because none of that is scalable, right?
I agree.
Right? But if you say, here's where I am, here's what I need, here's what I'm willing to do, blah, 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 is anybody out there? And there is someone out there. And the point is, I've always just done more until I got what I needed. I never waited. You know, if it
Me
took,
too. Me too.
you know, if it took, I'd rather bust my ass for 20 hours a week for a month to get over the hump and be in open field than sitting there climbing the mountain every day and not getting there with another climb tomorrow. So the point is, how bad you want it now depends on how much you want to talk about it and how often. And the other thing is, you get better with feedback because it's like it's like a polishing stone, right? You apply yourself to it, and it moves you if you allow it to. And then pretty soon you dial in, just like that optical example, that every second I have here, I mean, if you had 5 minutes on a primetime show, you would make every second, every word count, right? Yes. You wouldn't start talking about, I went shopping yesterday, had a good time, because you'd be gone. They'd erase you either at the TV station or the audience would turn you off. So the point is, you have to look at yourself as an authentic actor, right? Not somebody who's playing a role, but someone who's optimizing themselves for the role, right? It's like
that's exactly what I'm currently doing. I basically, one of the big revelations that came to me over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Again, I was kind of doing baby steps 2 weeks ago, and now it crystallized is that 2 weeks ago, as I came into contact with fellow creators, I would just, read their posts. And if I found them insightful, just on a whim, I would repost them because, I like promoting people. Like if they're good people, I see myself. And that's the way I was like 20 years ago. I was a shy software engineer that nobody taught like how to be like, hey, look, I wrote some great code. Like nobody tells you that. So I didn't know that. And like, yes, I focused on what I was good at, which was developing code. And luckily for me, for the first few years, I got promoted because I was a very hard worker. I worked very hard at my craft. But then as word got out that, the code I wrote was actually helpful, I mean, against my better judgment, people started saying, Alex, like, show me how to use the menu item. And I was very afraid. But after like 100 people that said, Alex, you got to show me how to do this. It's going to save me time. After showing to 100 people, I thought to myself, you know what? It's kind of fun. Like they're using my programs and I'm like showing them how to do it. And they're just grateful. And that kind of slowly started turning the wheels of going from shy to fly, as I'd like to put it. but it's all practice. So now, because I have a position where, right now I've got 6,000 followers, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't care how many followers I have. The point being is that it's enough such that when I post stuff, people are starting to tune in. And so when I started my journey as a Russian Santa yesterday, I met a gentleman named Bill, who's an Army veteran who happens to be homeless, sitting outside of Dollar Tree in Lawton, Oklahoma, on Sheridan Road. So I talked to him for like 5 minutes, and I had him tell me what he wants. And he just wants an apartment and a car. Like, he doesn't do drugs. He doesn't do anything. He's going to remain hopeful. He's going to sit there because he doesn't trust people. And I know this all too well because I went through this hell 2 years ago. And so I basically, took his story and I posted it to LinkedIn, and I asked people to repost. Like, if you're not in Lawton, Oklahoma, like, you can't physically get to him. But if you are in Lawton, Oklahoma, you could stop by and give him like $5 and say, "Hey, I came here on a tip from Russian Santa," and that would really makes his day.
Yeah, no, there's again so many opportunities on LinkedIn and other places to help people, to promote, quality causes and situations. But, again, it's a niche, so if one has a motivation, then they should theme a program around that. I was thinking, because I'm coming across so much great talent on LinkedIn, to take something like, instead of like LinkedIn's Got Talent, just like America's Got Talent, right? And that says, okay, well, now I'm introducing more and more people that I'm starting to meet who I'm impressed with, or feel they have a story that deserves to be told. Just like if there's one that says LinkedIn Live people. So people are just focused on LinkedIn Live and want to do LinkedIn Live and want to learn with LinkedIn Live people. That would be a niche program.
Yeah. So I think I was going to say, no, I think that's great. Like, so for me, like I said, it crystallized over the past 3 days that my people are the people on the streets that saw something in me that I didn't see. So like, it is my duty to give them a chance. So like, I'm going to launch a podcast in 2023, and it's going to be around basically around this concept of like every week, as I'm sharing my story, the podcast will be to elevate those people that want to have a voice. So I'm going to travel to see them in person, because they don't have computers, they don't have cell phones, they're out in the streets. But if I have the chance to help them, I'm obligated to help them. Now, I will say that right now I have a day job, which I love. So that's why this is going to be a weekly passion project on the weekends. I'm going to focus on my day job, and, I could see this completely blowing up. So like a year from now, when we have this conversation, and like I said, I'm happy to be a guest on your show anytime, time permitting, but time is quickly evaporating because I've got so many ideas. I'm taking action right away, and, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think, you got a lot to work with. The key is really focus and discipline as far as application, and having enough faith and trust in the future to take it as it comes, instead of too many people get ahead of themselves. There's a saying, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time.
Right.
You can't swallow the whole thing. And I'm not into eating elephants, but I think that common sense, quality attributes that make people successful in all other fields have the same application to LinkedIn. The difference is I think on LinkedIn, you're dealing with a tailwind instead of a headwind. You're dealing with a platform that really takes the reasons not to do video away from everybody. When LinkedIn Live allows you to share to their platform, announces you that you're going live, promote you after you go live based on what you're putting out there. Believe me, LinkedIn, they have a filter process that when anybody posts within like milliseconds, it flags it if there's something wrong. And if it doesn't block it, it could restrict it just by on content reach. Everything you do on LinkedIn Live is followed also. What's that?
It's a courage stone. I realized that I had, like, some stones here, so I want to, just show people, because as you were talking, like, I'm realizing well, so in terms of painting a movie, like anybody, like my goal is to entertain, because I'm starting from nothing and I'm basically painting my own masterpiece. As one of the people in my network reminded me yesterday, like Man on Fire with Denzel Washington. That's exactly how I feel right now. And I'm painting my masterpiece. I don't know what it's going to entail, but the people I'm going to help, they're not on LinkedIn. That's the problem. They're all on Facebook.
Yeah, and that's one thought I had, is why be on LinkedIn when they're not, when maybe another social platform may be
Well, that's why I'm going to combine them all. I'm going to going live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube all at the same time every single Saturday.
No, that's great. So anyways, we kind of went beyond usually what I go, which is about 20, 25 minutes, but it's been entertaining and interesting. Hopefully, a lot of insights that we shared. What's that one?
Dream. Yeah.
Well, it's nothing like motivational stones. Well, hopefully what we did is we had a positive impact on the audience. Feel free to share the video with anybody. I'm sure Alex.
The last one. Love. It says love, but I don't know that you can see it. Yeah. So
yeah, I can see it. Looks good.
Those are my three. That's it.
Okay, well, that's a lot. So yeah, I'm sure Alex, if would love to hear from you if what he had to say or what we had to say resonated with you, or you want to learn more.
I'd say just tune in. Like I said, I'm going a fast clip, so tune in 12 Central Standard Time every Saturday going forward on whatever platform you want.
Yeah, and I would suggest maybe you put that on your profile or in your About Me.
Yeah, like I said, right now I'm gonna let my team take care of it. I've got 9 people in my mastermind, and basically on a whim, I'm just acting based on my intuition. As my life coach Tom said, he said, basically, your intuition is going to guide you. You make sure you listen to it. It's coming from a happy place, and you make sure you ignore it if it's coming from a place of fear. Like that has completely crystallized between that suggestion and the fact that I'm not doing it for me. Those are the only 2 guiding principles that I'm operating by. I'm basically saying, well, and for me, I'm selfish. Like I've been selfish my whole life. So it's a challenge. I have to keep telling myself, like, but I'm doing it because I have a greater purpose. My purpose is to come back and help the people who they are not going to get help, because with the current system, like they can't get a job. Like they want to get a job, but they can't. So
there's huge opportunity, and it's pretty admirable of you to participate in that way. So anyways, I want to thank you again, Alex. It's always a pleasure to have you. And you're always impressed me with the dynamic changes in strategy and philosophy and direction.
I think it would be interesting if you and I, while I have time, if we did this on a weekly basis. So that way people could literally see how quickly things are evolving. I mean, so that's just an idea.
Yeah, or maybe I'll come on your show once in a while. So anyways, let's see how this worked out. I'm curious as to see what the response has been and what it will be. So with that, we're going to sign off. And thank you again all for watching, and have a wonderful day. And I'll be back tomorrow with another LinkedIn Live.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.